Hello and good evening, everybody. I have with me, as shared with everyone, Major General GD Bakshi, who is a very well-known figure, on all the media spaces. We have been watching him, and it is so nice of you, sir. Thank you so much for taking out time and joining me here.
Thank
It's a
you.
proud moment for me and a proud moment for Nation Talks, which it's a privilege to have you here. So thank you once again for joining me. Before I start the talk show, I would like to briefly introduce, though we all know General Bakshi, but still, I would like to give a brief intro before we start the talk show with him. He's one of the biggest influencers in the contemporary media spaces and can be seen majorly on prime time news channels and all the debates which we have been watching and seeing him. The general is a decorated military veteran who has actively fought the 1971 Indo-Pak War as well as the Kargil War of 1999. Besides his illustrious career in uniform, where he went on to command a division, he is a scholar, a doctorate, a historian, and author of global repute, and an ocean of wisdom in matters related to defense, geopolitics, international relations, diplomacy, and policy making. Since he hung his uniform in 2008, the journal has built a shaped a correct national narrative in the hearts and minds of millions of Indians. His perspectives and insights to the matter related to our nation are plausible, logical, and based always on facts and extremely compelling. Sir, a very warm welcome to you. This is some little
Thank
brief
you.
about you, whichever we could have highlighted in short span, a little bit of time which we have with you. So, sir, firstly, when we talk about here, we are going to talk about decoding India's two fronts challenges, China and Pakistan. हम सभी जानते हैं कि बहुत कुछ हो रहा है और मिलिट्री फ्रंट पर भी हो रहा है पॉलिटिकल फ्रंट पर भी हो रहा है I would like to know your opinion when we talk about it. Why China has done it, what it has done. This is the first question which is coming to everybody's mind. Also, why they have crossed the LAC firstly, why they have violated the existing agreements which were already there and which have been there, of course. Why have they got into that confrontation and physical assault with their soldiers at Galwan Valley, which has happened, and it was the kind of things which have happened, and so in addition to that, why has China become so aggressive, not just with us, it has become aggressive even with Hong Kong, even in South China sea parts, with Vietnam, Taiwan, Malaysia, Indonesia, all these countries also. So sir, your take on that.
Thank you for having me on your show. Now, China, as you very correctly observed, has been acting most aggressive, most, amazingly aggressive on its
Yeah,
entire periphery, starting
exactly.
from East China Sea with Japan, starting with Taiwan. It has been holding major military exercises to threaten Taiwan. Then
Ji.
all this started in January. And then in the South China Sea, it has prevented Malaysia from doing, oil prospecting in its own area. It sunk Vietnamese fishing boats. It arrested the Filipino fishing boats and has been trying to sink them. So with Japan, with the Southeast Asian nations, with America, with Taiwan, and now with India.
Right.
Now with India. So the very logical question is, why is China doing it? My
Right.
first take is that it stems from a deep sense of insecurity. China is now the second superpower of the world. It has got a 12.5 trillion economy. It has got the second largest armed forces after the United States, the most modern, very advanced, armed forces. And yet China is feeling highly insecure because of what is happening in Hong Kong, because of what is happening in Xinjiang, because of what the military aid that is being given to Taiwan and the election of Tai Wing, a very pro-independent kind of a leader in Taiwan. So China is feeling threatened. It is feeling under siege, and it is trying to lash out. Now there is a very serious speculation, and I'd like to open it on your channel.
Sure.
That there is a speculation that this coronavirus pandemic is not accidental. It is
Right.
not a natural epidemic. but it was created in the laboratory in the Wuhan Institute of Virology. And from there, it has been leaked out, whether by accident or deliberately. Still, the 130 nations of the world want an inquiry on that as to how exactly did it happen. You see, the bat coronavirus, it is the one that spreads very fast. And last year, a lot of research was done by the Americans jointly with the Chinese to identify, and they identified 89 species of bat coronavirus in China, right? And the good news was that none of them was transmittable to human beings. They had not made the jump from bat to human. Then
Yeah.
Dr. Shi Zhengli of the Wuhan Institute of Virology, she published 4 papers. And these papers was about how the SARS hook protein molecule, the one that attaches to human cell, can be grafted from the, or spliced from the SARS virus and attached to the bat coronavirus. And this has been done in the laboratory. The coronavirus or COVID-19 virus, when the gene code has been broken, it has been found that the SARS has been spliced onto it. That can only happen in a laboratory. That cannot happen naturally. So the theory is that China has very deliberately unleashed a biological Pearl Harbor onto the world. It has
Yeah.
unleashed a biological Pearl Harbor onto the world and is now trying to exploit it economically by selling to the world once the coronavirus took place, the high-tech companies, foreign companies in China sold their stocks in panic. And China purchased them all,
Yeah.
at rock bottom prices. And in one stroke, it nationalized those companies. So it has made economic gains. And now China is trying to exploit the effect of the coronavirus on the United States, on Europe, on India, on Japan, on Taiwan. It is trying to exploit that militarily by being aggressive. Nothing else explains that aggression.
Yes, sir. Very correctly said, and this is some new aspect which has come to light by your sharing this aspect also. When we talk about the China crisis, which has got averted for the time being, of course, when we talk about it, but with disengagements taking place from both the sides, what we have got to know about it. So, can we rest assured that this will not flare up again? Can we be rest assured about this particular thing? Are we confident that they will not violate the LSE again and another places? What are the surety about it? And if there is no surety of it, is there any possibility of getting into a warlike situation again? Why we are not doing it if it is getting so averse? Why we are not getting when we I'm not trying to say about a warmongering or something, but I'm just saying that why we are not bringing that thing to that level, though there are talks going on as
Uh,
shared and as we have been following on news also, that militarily talks with commanders and all are going on, but what should we assume out of it? Yeah.
Look, my first reaction would be: can we trust China? And oh no,
Of course.
absolutely no. Especially after what they did on the night of 15, 16 June, they killed one colonel and 20 of our jawans. I
Yeah.
mean, they have shed blood. They have taken lethal action. How can you trust them after that? I mean, it's not small change that 20 of our boys died and we can go back to singing Hindi Chini Bhai Bhai Bhajan. We
Yeah.
can't do that. There is no bloody question of doing that.
It's like a
And
react.
I agree. So
Yeah.
therefore, what should be your very logical question is, what
Yeah.
should be our reaction?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think
Because
we are trying to do it peacefully by holding talks and trying to see that disengagement has taken place partially. It has taken
yeah.
place at Petrol Point 14 in Galwan and in the hot springs area, but it still hasn't taken place in Pongong So. It still hasn't taken place in Depsang. It still hasn't taken place in Daulatpur, Goldi. And though we are trying to do it peacefully, I think we should be fully ready for you know, for a conflict if one is
जी.
thrust on us. And I think most people forget the fact that India is very well prepared militarily. In fact, on the India China border, we have an edge in air power. Our army is far more experienced in mountain warfare. In fact, we are far more combat experienced than the Chinese army now because the Chinese army hasn't fought a war in the last 42 years. And when you suddenly fight after a long time, you get a lot of shocks. You see? So the point at issue is I don't think the Chinese should be very overconfident. It is a far cry from 1962. Lakhs of tons of water has flowed down the Brahmaputra since 1962. And China should not be overtly keen for a conflict. My point to Indians is you are better off militarily. Number one.
Yes.
Number two, the whole world supports you now. The entire world is fed up with the shenanigans of China, with what it has. China has spread, gifted COVID-19 to the whole world. Over 12 to 13 million people are infected, and about 6.5 lakh people have died already. So the world is very sick and tired. 130 countries of the world have asked for an inquiry against China. And when that team went there, China opened the floodgates of that Three Gorges Dam and flooded Wuhan. So the team had to go back. China is trying to hide something. China is trying to cover something. So the whole world is with you. Don't forget that two American nuclear powered aircraft carrier battle groups are right now in the South China Sea. There are two more in the Pacific. The USS Ronald Reagan, the USS Nimitz are already in the South China Sea. USS America and USS Theodore Roosevelt are in the Pacific Theater. They have brought their B-52s, B-2 bombers, and they're also carrying out an exercise in the Bakshi Straits next to Taiwan. But China knows that if it crosses the line, China could be facing a lot of trouble. The Japanese Navy is doing exercise with the Indian Navy. The Indian Navy is doing exercise in the Andaman Sea, right? We can cut off their Malacca choke point, the Sunda Straits, the Lombok Straits. 60% of Chinese oil comes through this way. 90% of their trade comes through this way. The Indian Navy can choke it off. The Indian Air Force is superior. The Indian Army is superior. And if push comes to shove and if we are forced to fight, we didn't ask for a fight. As you rightly said, we are not warmongers. We are not looking for a war. We did not start it. China did. And
Yes.
if China doesn't go back peacefully, please understand one thing. Very few people in this country understand this. And I'm glad you have raised this issue because the question is not few inches of land here and few yards of land there. The Chinese have moved to mechanized division with tanks and armored personnel carriers. They have moved 1,000 kilometers from Xinjiang and come opposite eastern Ladakh to threaten our newly built road from Delhi to Shop Dollar Bay Goldie. This is a very vital road. It connects, Dollar Bay Goldie with Leh, and it runs parallel to the line of actual control. And the Chinese, by moving these two divisions forward, they are threatening our vital road artery. So it is not so much the question of now of 2 inches here and 8 inches there and 15 inches somewhere else.
All right, I think I'm going to resume once again when he joins me in because there is some video disconnect and give us time for some time to again restart this topic which is of national interest and we must talk about it, discuss about it. So, keep following us and keep watching this space to hear more about and hear more from Major General GD Bakshi on India, China, and also about Pakistan, how we are facing those challenges.